Okay, we have 2 minutes, I think.
Yes, sir. सर वेटिंग रूम में कोई है।
अब आप भी ऐड कर सकते हो, को होस्ट हो ना।
हाँ हाँ यस सर।
सो अभी भी 1 more minute to go.
इसके बाद सर आप एडमिट कर लीजिएगा बिकॉज यहाँ तो वो मैं ये होगा ना उस पे।
I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that.
राइट सर।
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, good evening to all of you. Today is the second day for our webinar series, and we have one of our eminent speakers. I hope by now most of us are aware that why this NMLPW is being celebrated. The full form is National Medical Lab Professionals Week. This is the 11th year actually. It began in 2015 when Government of India issued an order speaking about the recruitment and regulations about medical lab technology profession, and they designated the professionals at the entry point as medical lab technologists. So moving on to the current talk, we have one of our alumnus from PGI Chandigarh, Mr. Sanjeev Chabada. He is a senior medical technologist and in charge of hemolytic workup lab in Department of Hematology at PGMR Chandigarh. He has done his BSc Medical Technology as well as Masters in Medical Technology, both from PGI Chandigarh. The Masters was in Hematology, followed by with this, he's there with the PGI for 24 years, and his specialty is hemoglobinopathies. He has more than 25 publications in peer-reviewed journals, and he has received certain good number of awards during the conferences and other events. So over to Sanjeev now. You can proceed with the talk. Yeah, you could be a little louder. You're very soft actually, so yeah. Please.
Thank you so much, sir, for introducing me, and I also thank ICMLS for giving me this opportunity. This is my first webinar on this very platform, and I am very warm welcome to all. So my topic for today's presentation is guidelines for laboratory investigation of hemoglobinopathies. So what is hemoglobinopathies? I think it's called. Well, this is syndrome result from the disorder of hemoglobin synthesis, referred to as hemoglobinopathies. So when there is a defect in the synthesis of hemoglobin, this is called hemoglobinopathies. And we can categorize in three parts, basically. Qualitative disorders, quantitative, and HbF. Full form is hereditary system of fetal hemoglobin. In qualitative, these are structure variants of hemoglobin. In thalassemia, these are reduced production rate as compared to normal. Where this alpha, beta, gamma, or that any globin chain, whether we reduce, they called thalassemias or in a more common way. So in the case of HbFH, there is a failure to switch off of HbF, and you can find adult HbF in the adult life. So anyone can have a combination of two or more of these abnormalities. A person can have a quantity as well as qualitative disorder. A person can have a thalassemia along with HbFH. So we can have a combination of these also, or one can have a single effect also. So some thalassemia can arise from a variant. And why this rise it when there's a unstable variant is there, like most problem is HVE. So these are basically single gene disorders are there. They are being transmitted in autosomal recessive way. So this is the spectrum of all hemonopathies. On this set of line, you see thalassemia. These are quantitative, as we have been told, and hemonopathies, they are qualitative, like HbS, HbE, fetal hemoglobin in the adult life primarily, and the causes are mainly HbFH, diabetic thalassemia. And these are all autosomal recessive. On the other side of line, these are unstable hemoglobin disorders owing to the unstable hemoglobin molecule, depending on what kind of instability is caused by the mutations. And these are polycythemic variants are there owing to the high affinity hemoglobins are there, and these are methemoglobinemia. Is in this case, the hemoglobin is stabilized in the methemoglobinemia configuration. These are sporadic variants, and these are being transmitted in autosomal dominant.
1 minute, 1 second, I'll stop you.
Yeah.
You have not initiated your slides in presentation mode.
Oh, okay. Just a second.
Okay.
Slides are not visible, sir.
Visible, but they are not moving.
Actually, they are not.
The first slide is shown actually.
Okay, so we can just do it again. You share it. Stop sharing.
Share screen. Okay, check it. Let's just check it.
Sir, now it's moving or not?
Yeah, now like types of hemoglobin. Yeah, correct. Yeah. And they are not in presentation mode actually. Like side by side, the trail is there of the entire PPT.
Sir, please press F6.
Yeah.
Presentation mode.
This is a presentation mode only.
Is it?
Yes, sir. Yes. That's what it is.
F6. You may proceed. Please continue.
Exactly.
Is it okay? Okay. Let's find out types of hemoglobin in the normal way. When you see in the embryonic life, you will find this GOVA1, GOVA2, Portland, and Portland 2. You see these have chains of embryonic life. Zeta 2 is the alpha counterpart, epsilon is the beta counterpart. So in the GOVA2, you find alpha 2. You see this embryonic part. You find here this epsilon and zeta are the prominent chains. Okay, and the zeta is the alpha counterpart, with epsilon is the beta counterpart. In the Portland, you find a zeta is there and alpha 2 is there. And in the Portland, you find a zeta 2, beta 2 is there. In the fetal life, on this zone, you find the gamma is the prominent chain, and you will find the alpha 2, gamma 2, that's your HbF. In the adult life, you'll find HbA1 is alpha 2, beta 2, and HbA2 is the minor component having the chains of alpha 2, delta 2. So in the at birth, I'm saying, so you find the HbF, which is 75%, is the mean value, and the HbA is you find 25%. In the adult, so these are three main, these are, I'm saying, talking about the normal components. Is the HbA is alpha to beta is 97%, including all the P2, P3, glycerol, all the components of HbA. So sum of all is 97% is the mean value, and A2 is 2.5%. It is the mean. The range is around 2 to 3.3%, and the F is around less than 1% in the adult life. So these things helps us very much when we interpreting our results in the HPLC and all our investigation. You will find, you see these are very helpful. So I'm going to a abnormal part. What is structure variants? When the alteration in the amino sequence of the globin chain, if you compare the wild type of chain and this when there any alteration in the peptide sequence of the hemoglobin, this is called variant in a very simple way. And this change can affect structure, function, stability, and even the pressure rate of hemoglobin. And this leads to hemoglobinopathies. There are around more than 1,000 variants. Some are harmless and some have serious clinical effects. So common variants, HBS, as you know, sickle. And you find that there's a beta variant, and the beta 6 you find a there's a glutamic acid is based by the valine. As in the C, there is also a beta variant. You find glutamic is based by a lysine addition 6 of the beta chain. Then in E, you find glutamic is based by lysine addition 26 of the beta chain. Now this is very interesting. It is a hybrid of delta and beta chain. Some part of the is of delta and some part of beta chain. It's a hybrid. It's a when in the case of meiotic, we also see there's an unequal crossover is there. So it's a very interesting variant is there. In HBJ is an alpha variant. You find at 120% of alpha, you find a glutamic acid is by alanine. In the HBQ India, there is the aspartate is based by histidine addition 64 for the alpha chains. Now thalassemias. These are anemias which have common thing. There's a reduced production of one or more globin subunits, whether it's alpha, beta, or gamma. And we classify according it. If the alpha chains are being reduced, we say alpha thalassemia. If beta is being reduced, we say beta thalassemia. If gamma is reduced, gamma thalassemia. If delta beta is reduced, we say delta beta, like this. Now, this is a very informative chart is there. If we say if I'm having alpha thalassemia, what are here being affected? So HbA, HbA2, and F, because they are all having alpha component. We have because A is used now alpha to beta 2. If it is not buying alpha, so A is reduced, alpha to delta 2. If alpha is not there, you will say it will reduce. So these all three will be reduced. If beta chains are reduced, only HbA will be reduced. If gamma are being reduced, you say F will be reduced. So if delta, beta are there, then A and A2 are being affected. So if gamma, delta, beta are being reduced, I mean, if I say are being deleted, the whole genes being deleted like this, you will find A and A2 are being reduced. And if say HB liquor, as it's a hybrid of delta and beta, so A and A2 are being affected. So I'm making this is much more simple in this way, in these things. HbA is a sum of alpha 2 beta 2 levels at what are 20-25% only. And then in the adults, the levels are 97%. These are mean values. And we say this value comes when at the age of 1 year of age. And A2 in the adverts is 0.5%. So when we say we want to estimate A2 at birth and during the first 6 months of life, it's not advisable. We should measure after the 6 months of age. This is the reason. And elevated beta thalassemia rate is a very good marker of beta thalassemia rate is being raised more than 4%. And HbF at birth is 75 to 80%. in adult is less than 1%. And if we found increase in the adult life, it indicates so many conditions. Now HbH is beta 4. It's an abnormal hemoglobin variant where it's found in alpha thalassemia, and we found HB 15 to 20% in HB disease, and it's characterized by a Hans body in erythrocytes and cause hemolysis. And HB bar is the gamma 4. It's mainly primarily found in the fetal life or in the newborns. When the production of beta is not there, when main production is gamma there. So if there is alpha thalassemia, when all the four genes are defunct and not functional or defected, then this causes a hydrophytalis. It's not conducive with the life. And if in the newborns having alpha thalassemia, if the three alpha genes are dysfunctional or abnormal, only one is alpha gene is functional, you find this 15 to 25% HbH in the newborns. And so in the carriers, you will find this thing HB gamma 4 only at birth, because the main hemoglobin is your gamma, not beta at that time. So, and we can classify, we can also classify on the basis of clinical severity. For beta thalassemia, it's being classified as thalassemia major, and it's the, in this case, we require multiple transfusion, having multiple clinical problems are there. Thalassemia, it has a severity in between the thalassemia minor and the major. They require not so frequent blood transfusion. And thalassemia minor, they are absolutely normal, besides having a hypochromic feature is there, and a mild anemia is there. In alpha thalassemia, hydrophytalis, and you find a stillbirth in this case. HbA disease, when it's a condition when there are three alpha genes are being affected. Alpha thalassemia, when there are two alpha genes are affected, it's a person having a mild anemia, you can say. In silent count, they are absolutely normal, since they have three functional alpha genes are there. And stage thalassemia syndromes includes delta beta not thalassemia, Lepor hemoglobin delta beta plus, because it's a hybrid of delta beta is there. HBE thalassemia, why? Because it is a variant which has a picture of a thalassemia. Then there's a HPF, and it is a hemoglobin, and HB constant spring, it's an alpha variant, which it is a basically alpha chain is being unstable. In this case, it's a elongation of alpha chain is there. Now, what are indication of HB disorders? Why are you testing it? So clinical causes are anemia is there, then the jaundice, hemolysis, splenomegaly is there, and most important, microcytic hyperchromic anemia is there. This unspecific is primarily due to when it comes hemoglobin, methemoglobinic variant or HbM, thrombosis due to sickling, or erythrocytosis owing to the presence of high affinity hemoglobins are there. So, and also we want to prevent this thalassemia like problems. So we and as we know, why we want to screen it? Because carrier states are asymptomatic. But when there is a when both parts are, we say, traits, and there's a chance of having thalassemia major like kind of conditions, so we want to screen for the traits. It's very easy to detect case detection by means of HPLC. When we have a increase A2, or when we can have a HBS peak, all those things are there, we can detect a carrier state also. Oh, so it's a very important thing. We want to do antenatal screening or any pregnancies. We want to avoid affected pregnancies. Thereby, so we want to screen both the partners. So in the antenatal screening is the most important thing for us. So what diagnosis approach is there? First, we want to have a history, the clinical background, ethnic background, and we want to study the family tree. Examination find like splenomegaly, anemia, jaundice, all those kind of things, and history of transfer is very important. And last year of blood transfusion is also very important because interface with our estimation. Now, complete blood count, then we have to have a complete blood count, RBC indices, blood smear, AT count. So if there's some macrocytic picture there, we want to exclude the adverse anemia, mitoing, and profile like iron, UFCT, AVC, serum, and other parameters. And this very important thing is there. When it's a macrocytic picture, if I want to differentiate between the adverse anemia and the thalassemia picture, so this men's index is there. It's a simple ratio MCV of public RBC. If the ratio is less than 13 plus 13, it indicates thalassemia trait. If it's more than 13, it indicates iron deficiency. And HbF and HbF quantifications and screen for variant HB. If HbA2 is more than 4% and HbF is normal, it is diagnostic of beta thalassemia trait. If HbF is 5 to 50%, is the diagnostic of beta thalassemia intermedia. If HbF is more than 50%, is diagnostic of beta thalassemia major, by taking in account the clinical picture also. And we should confirm by sacking technique, especially for the variants, by means HbHPLC, lactophoresis, cycling, HbH inclusion, stability testing, DNA analysis, and for beta thalassemia major and minor, parental testing is very important, and DNA analysis is the backbone of this. Now, for detection of hemoglobin variants, it's a list of processes are there. So as we already told, blood count, film examination, retic count is there, but automated HPLC is the primary screen test. I am putting quite a much more stress on this testing, but it is the most important for us. Then we can also use acetate lactophases at pH 8.5, stated acetate gel lactophases at pH 6, isolated focusing, test for HPS like cycling test, solubility test, lactophases, all those things are there. The detection of unsafe hemoglobins, heat stability tests, isopropyl stability tests, and hence body preparation is there. Detection of HBMs, detection of ultra-defined hemoglobins, diffusion of common structure variants. By some of all those results, we can differentiate those things. Neonatal screening is there, test iron deficiency, anemia as cause of macrocytosis, multi-techniques, and procedure for use under-resourced laboratory test. All those things are there. But globin electricity now is rarely used. A very complicated procedure now is not being used. It's been outdated now these days. And for thalassemias, whole blood counts with red indices, blood film, and red cases, retic counts there. And on SPLC, again, prime test for HbA to HbF quantification is there. We can also estimate by means of acetate lactophases with elution. And also, if we not have HPLC, it's a very good method for estimation HbA2 by means of microchrome chromatography, quantitation of HbF by other means like Singer's method, immunoassay, ELISA, all those things are there. Then assessment of HbF, like you have beta test solution at pH 1.4, immunofluorescence there, similar iron status there, and demonstration of inclusion like HB inclusions there, analysis by arms, RDB, reverse dot plot, and sequencing. So it's in a nutshell, the study should be like this: clinical phenotype, CBC, HBC, all the indices are there, blood film, retic count, inclusions are there, HBSC, HbF, and HbA2, and screening of the other variants which comes during their estimation, lactophase at pH and acid pH, DNS by arms, RDB, and sequencing. So this the performer of history we used to fill in the department, in my lab especially. So it has got so many different like pallor, duration of the symptoms, recent transfusion, pregnancy, date of pregnancy, bilirubin, spleen size, lymph node, all those things, last BT, number of BTs, and so on, and current hemogram, all those things are there. Now, organ separate cell counts. These indices are very important in especially differentiating the adverse anemia and other cause. If we have a hypermacrocytosis, we should go for iron deficiency testing, quantity of HbA2 and for BTT, for thalassemia trait, alpha thalassemia trait. So this is a very good differential. On base of hemoglobin data. For in the iron you will find HB low. In thalassemia trait you find normal low, and thalassemia is very low. But RBC you find is a very good thing. RBC is low, but thalassemia is high, and thalassemia is low. MCF MCVs are in all the, because these are all maxating, you find MCV low, MC is also low. But MCS, you will find beta thalassemia trait is normal, but is low in high deficiency anemia and thalassemia major. RW again is high in high deficiency anemia and thalassemia major, but it's normal. Platelet may be high in normal in both cases. But in case of pregnancy, thalassemia with the IDA and thalassemia, we should interpret this index very carefully because it feels very in this case we cannot pick from these indices. So from the dot film, you can see in RW deficiency anemia, was it having RDW, you find it's a great variation of size. This sphere and isocytosis there, you find pachycytosis are there, but in thalassemia, it's a slightly raised RW. You find a uniform macrocytosis is there, but and also in case of thalassemia major, is a marked sphere, isocytosis and pachycytosis, and you find also NRBCs are there. This is the blood picture of sickle cell anemia. You find a sickle cell, you find darkening, Purkinje cells are there. Now, the dying stage high pressure chromatography, yani HPLC. In a PJ, we're using the variant 2 hemoglobin testing system from Biorad, and we're using the program called beta thalassemia short program. And it's the primary screen test for our hemoglobinopathies. It's automated, speed, and accurate. Why accurate? Because we are using calibrators, controls, and we are having equals for this. It's the principle of HPLC. It's a fully automated HPLC system, and we use to determine and separate the percentage area of HbA2 and HbF. It also provides qualitative determination of abdominal hemoglobins. It uses a principle of the time stage high frequency chromatography. It's time based. There are two types of programs are there. Time is or volume based in HPLC. Where we're using time based for separation and identification of hemoglobins. So in the principle how this HPLC works, this is a flow chart of working of HPLC. See, so there are two buffers, like buffer A and buffer B first. This buffer is being mixed with buffer B to produce a gradient of pH or any concentration. In the first episode, sample is being hemolyzed and injected into the column. Pump A and pump B will supply the gradient of buffer A and B, in particular percentage of buffer B. Then the elutant, our hemoglobin fraction, will be detected by the detector. And this OD, the absorbent, converted into peaks. Then peaks are being analyzed by the computer. Now, what's the chemistry going inside? Here, you can see this our column with the stationary phase is basically a small column which having a 5 microns like silica gel. It's very negative charged resin, and here is our positively charged at first episode. It can absorb. But A and B are being produced, is injected into it. It gives a gain of pH. And we can say whenever hemoglobin faces isolated point, it's called A2. If A2 faces isolated point with respect to time, it gets eluted from the column and is read by the detector and turned into peak. So this separation, this A and B and the isolated point which is being produced for, or we can say, is produced with respect to time. So how we can for hemoglobin is by measuring retention time. How long the hemoglobin is being retained in the column and is being eluted. When you say it's being fully eluted, we say that the peak it is the maximum height. So for the time of injection to the height of the peak is called the retention time, and every hemoglobin has a specific retention time. This is the retention of all the various hemoglobins detected by our HPLC. F is having 1.1 with the window range is 1.9 to 1.2. P2 has 1.39, P3 is 1.7, A2 2.5, and these are the ranges. So S is at 4.5, D is 4.1, C is 5.1. So this is a normal chromatogram. Is showing the base AF, A2 values like this. You see AF is there, A node like this. It also has got a P2, P3 peaks. These are basically P2 is basically the HP, or you can say HbA1c. P3 is other than HbA1c, and these are, you can see that the phase fraction of adult hemoglobin HbA1a, 1b, E, and D. These are detected by P3 peak. Also, if the HbJ med is there, especially at the P3 peak, and we see unknown peaks, less than 1%. If it's less than 1%, these are non-significant. So you can see the chromatograph. These are time scale is there, and there's percent of B being produced. And you see this peak area is there. We have calculated the peak area of each and every peak as being totaled out. And if you want to know the percentage, suppose if we want to know the of A2, so peak area of A2 divided by the total area into 100, we come to know the percentage. So this is the various fraction of the chromatograph. This zone is called pre-integration. It's not being counted for condition of area, but we can find balloon peak, HBH, HB parts, and HBF. So after this HBF is there, there's P2, P3, then say A naught. Why call A naught? Because it's a pure A without having any post transition HB A. Like I said, HB or then A2 peak is there. Then this is a section of D, S, and C. So this is the VA fraction we get from the HPLC. So it gives us the European HB bars, P2 case of gasulated HB, P3. If it's more than 10%, we can think of any variant. Most of the times HB mirrored or can find in age samples. In A2, we can also find peaks of HBE, D Iran. These are all variants. Shepor, Jikoshata, Zurich, all they add D, mostly it's a D Punjab is there. Then SQL and C is not so common. Then the interpretation. If the normal range of HbA2 is 2 to 3.4%, in the beta thalassemia rate you find is more than equal to 4%. If it's 3.5, 3.9, the person can be a thalassemia rate, or there some other causes can be there. Most is in the diagnosis anemia there. If beta thalassemia rate with sphere IDA, you will find is lying this in the zone. So it's called a gray zone is there. Shall I sum up? So HbA is a minor fraction. Its only duty is in the diagnosis of beta thalassemia trait. If it's and A2 cannot be more than 8 to 9%. If it's more than 9%, we can think of an variant operating along with the A2. It can be HBE, HBD4, HBD, Iran. So F can be like that. This if 0 to 1 is a normal range and 1.5 is beta thalassemia trait. 5 to 20% you can find in thalassemia trait and in pregnancy also in the second or third trimester. In case of sickle cell anemia, in some heterozygote with HB variants are there. If it's 50 to 45% in HbFH of African type, and case of beta thalassemia intermediate there, if more than 40% beta thalassemia major, if it was more than 95% in neonates and homozygous African type of HbFH. So in the electrophoresis, we can do at FL pH 8.5, 6, and acidic pH. It is basically a separation of hemoglobin based on their net charge on their surface. So we can separate various. It's also called zone electrophoresis, or so many things are there. Since I'm short of time, I'm making this very short. So this is the various fraction we get on the alkaline pH. If when we say the slow moving, if it's behind the A, we call it slow moving. It's above A, we can say it's fast moving, and the fastest is HBH. You can see some various zones there. The line of alkaline pH is towards the cathode, and it moves towards the anode is there. So you can find a various zone for this, and this is a separation of hemoglobin at pH 6 is there. It's not so informative as compared to alkaline pH. Now let's come to hemoglobin. If abnormal peaks comes on HPLC, we have to perform the second test. Like this is the ways we perform. Actually, it was at alkaline pH, H preparation for alpha thalassemia, stability test like heat stability test, isopropyl test, sickling test, and we can also do a DNA analysis. So common variants in North India is HBD Punjab, HBJ paired, HBQ index alpha variants are there. HB is more common in East zone is there. HBS in combinations with like homozygous, SB beta thal, ST Punjab, like this. And it's very easy to confirm with the sickling test. I'm giving you two cases just for an example how we do proceed. Here you say for here having a hemogram, HB 30.9 MCB. You see these are normal. HBC you find these are normal, but HPLC what I found HB not 82.5, that's a normal, and S window 37.1%. So having a picture of heterozygous HBS, and you can see it is normal, F is normal. How we confirm this thing? We run the lactophrase and we find a slow moving band of HBS below the A, and we also can do a cycling test by using a sodium metaphosphate as an reducing agent. Now, one more example of HBH. And here you see the history. The patient having jaundice there, having a ocular transmission 4 to 6 times, 4 to 6 years. In the CV you find HB 8.3, low, MCV also low, RBC also low, and audience 23.6, and you find a piece of this. How can you make sure? And you find A2 1.3 is below 2. As we know, in alpha thalassemias, you find A2 is reduced. How to confirm? It's a very simple to do a HBH preparation. You find a ball-like preparation and we do a supervised stain for this. And on electrophoresis, we find a fast-moving band. And take home messages. So when we have to interpret HPLC, we should take in information and CBC findings. And HPLC osteoporosis various fractions are there. Insert transmission should be noted because it can interfere with our test. We also should do parental screening to confirm high HbF, to distinguish between homozygous and compound heterozygous states. HbA2 cannot be more than 9%. If it's more than 9%, we can think of and variant can be correlating along with the A2. If we find prediction peaks, like it can indicate of HbH, HbF, HB bars. And it should be confirmed with other techniques like cycling, electrophoresis, H preparation. Thank you for such a patient listening. Thank you so much. Any queries are welcome, please.
Yeah, the house is open for questions. Those who want to ask questions, they can either type their questions in the chat bot, or they can unmute themselves and talk. In the meanwhile, I'll congratulate my friend Mr. Sanjeev Chabra. It was really an exhaustive topic. You rushed through your slides to cover it up.
Yes,
because of the time constraint. But it was, it was very informative. And Ashwinder or Dr. Pankaj Kaul, if you have any questions.
Chavdaji, it was nice to hear from you.
Thank you, sir.
I am surprised that how you could get time to make PPTs because you remain so busy in your lab.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is a wonderful appearance in this ICMLS platform. Really, I was very happy to see you. Keep it up. Take out some time to teach us also. Thank you.
Sure, sure. I started to do, sir. Thanks for encouraging me also.
So I think we have another talk by one of the faculty from Gujarat, Dr. Aarti Tyagi. So I would say thank you once again. Sanjeev, as my friend said, you squeezed out time out of your busy schedule and made it possible during this webinar series. So once again, congratulations and thank you so much.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate CMS for making this opportunity, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You're welcome. Our pleasure. Right. Can we have the next speaker?
Hello.
Yeah, Dr. Aarti, yeah, please.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good
I
evening.
hope I'm audible to everyone, sir.
Yeah, you can start your
Okay.
screen
Yeah,
sharing. Sorry. Before you launch onto that, I'll give you your introduction. So I'll just read it through. The next speaker happens to be from a college, that is BD Bapu Bhai Desai Bhai Patel Institute of Paramedical Sciences under Charotar University of Science and Technology, Changa. She is an assistant professor and head department of medical lab technology. She has more than 14 years of experience in different positions. She has attended several conferences. She is among the board of studies at several universities. She is a subject matter expert for medical technology. So the best part is she has done her graduation and master's in medical technology and a PhD in clinical laboratory technology. So, expecting since you are a faculty, expecting good information from your side, you may proceed now. Like, you can share your screen.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for introducing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for giving such opportunity. Let me share my screen.
No, I don't think you'll be able to do that.
Yeah. Host isn't allowing that's coming on the screen.
That is a problem actually.
Okay.
Today I don't have the complete rights, but I'll.
It's fine, sir, if you can open it.
Yeah, give me a minute.
Yeah.
One sec.
Pandey sir, she can also share from the side because she is co-host now. Okay.
You made her co-host. Okay, I'm sharing it. Now my sharing. Okay. Yeah. Is it audible? Oh, sorry. Is it visible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah. So I think, is it visible, Dr. Aarti?
Yeah, it is visible.
Dr. Aarti's connection is lost, I think.
Hello. Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Right now I'm having the access, sir. Shall I open if you permit?
I've already
It will
opened
be
it.
It will be easier for me to change the slides. That's why, sir.
Okay. I'll exit.
Yeah.
Right. I've stopped sharing.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Now
Well,
I hope it's visible, right, sir? Is
not
it
yet.
It's not visible, sir?
No.
It is scanning yet.
Buffering is there, like, I think.
Now it is visible. Now it is visible.
It's visible, sir? Okay. I hope the slides are changing as well. Let me do the screen sharing. Right,
Okay.
sir?
Yeah, screen sharing and
I hope
now perfect.
it's changing, right, sir?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Today I have taken this topic, quality control in clinical laboratory, right? Very, very important part in today's time. Right now in our profession, we are knowing that learning the technical skills, learning the laboratory skills is very much needed. But again, along with this, we must learn the quality skills as well. The validation is very important to trace that the laboratory skills, what we have, the laboratory procedures which we have undertaken, whether they are valid or not. So the quality control plays a very important role to validate these procedures. here, let's see that what is exactly quality is. What is quality for us, right? In today's time, everywhere in our day-to-day life, we are expecting that we will get a level of excellency in each and every product. But definitely the product quality is achieved by the procedure quality, right? The same is true for the laboratories as well. So the degree of excellency in the laboratory testing procedures that can be achieved by some criteria, by meeting some criteria that is standard, which we follow, right? So here we know that within the laboratory, as we know, this laboratory is a completely complex system which comprise of different phases, that is pre-examination, examination, and post-examination phases. So the complex system, right, where the error can occur at any site. But the quality control is the procedure where we are monitoring the analytical process. Yeah, where we are observing this analytical process. So what exactly the quality control we identified? That it is the systematic monitoring of laboratory testing process, where we analyze the testing process by means of statistical measure. And this will ensure the accuracy, precision, and reliability of our test result. So this is very, very important. Now, just mere giving one example of quality aspect, that in our everyday life, we think that why it is given so much of importance. We know that 99% of quality is achieved and we accept that 1% of error is okay. But in routine day-to-day life, 1% error, that means like almost 6 lakh lunches are contaminated by bacteria, and that is being provided to the community. So we can imagine that how much infection it spread in the community. Similarly, if we see the other example, like 3 bad landing of the aeroplane flights, which will be very harmful, right? Similarly, 22 newborn falling from the midwife hand. So this shows that even 1% of the error, right, in the work process, that will be even more payable. So considering this 1% error, we must know how to minimize the laboratory error. So the utmost importance of quality control is that it will be helpful for the patient's safety, because during these procedures, during any laboratory error which happens, it worsens the situation of patient. It delays in diagnosis, it delays in treatment, right? Because of delayed diagnosis, misdiagnosis, repeated diagnostic procedures are carried out. So it increases the costing as well. It increases the time, it increases our personal effort, and meanwhile, this increase will be more harmful for the personal output, patient outcome, because it can be more severe and can result in more severe complications. So the utmost importance of quality control is patient safety, adherence to the regulatory compliances, diagnostic reliability, and to improve our efficiency. What are the key components of laboratory quality control? So the major key components are internal quality control and external quality control. Now, internal quality control, if I say, it is a everyday procedure. It is not a procedure which is carried out yearly or annually. It is everyday procedure. But the external quality assessment or external quality assessment methods such as proficiency testing, rechecking, retesting, on-site evaluation, these are the methods which are applied, and these are external quality assessment methods. These two are the methods which must be followed for quality control. Now, what does this mean? Let's see first external quality assessment methods and their importance. So proficiency testing. In case of proficiency testing, the proficiency testing is a process which is done where we are receiving a sample from the proficiency testing providers organizations, right, who provide the sample which is similar to a patient sample. But the proficiency testing sample comprise of many analytes. So here the sample is sent to the laboratories, multiple laboratories at a time, and this sample is being analyzed. After analysis, whatever the results are obtained by the laboratory as per the ask request, so the same results will be provided to the PT organization, and that is being evaluated. So the performance report is sent to the laboratory where we identify what is our performance level. So this improves our efficiency and confidential level that yes, we are doing our best and our testing procedures are reliable, trustable. If any non-compliances are there which are being reported by the PT process, then that corrective actions needs to be taken, and these corrective actions are corrective at this time, but this same will behave as a preventive action in the next proceedings. So it's very important to trace and to monitor our laboratory testing procedures. Similarly, the second is rechecking and retesting. Here, the rechecking and retesting procedures are done with the reference laboratory, where the sample is sent to the reference laboratory to trace and to monitor our laboratory testing procedures. So again, it is very important because by giving to the reference laboratory and by observing our testing procedures, again, it ensures quality and reliability in our procedure. This rechecking, retesting is more often seen in community with some if suppose, for example, I'm sending acid fast smear, right, or any serological testing procedures, like if GSEC is sending the procedures for HIV testing from other area. So this is the common procedures. Next is on-site evaluation. Now, in case of on-site evaluation, it brings the realistic picture where the external group or organizers, they visit the laboratories and they observe the process. So more often, the external group which participates here, they could be from accredited program, certification program, or from the professional body, or from the financial body. Again, this on-site evaluation, that will be helpful to observe the quality of the laboratory. Now coming to the internal quality control. Now the external quality assessment methods which we discussed, that is similar for either clinical biochemistry or microbiological samples. But in case of internal quality control, it is a everyday procedure. It's an everyday procedure where we observe the analytical phase control. But we know that analytical phase, that is examination phase, that is obviously affected by the pre-analytical or pre-examination phase. So the sample collection or handling, storage condition, patient preparation, that plays very important role for further proceedings, which must be managed by following the quality indicators and by following, like for example, by observing the sample rejection criteria, or by observing whether the sample is properly labeled, or so this is needed, that pre-analytical error must be free, right? We should avoid this pre-analytical phase errors to minimize our analytical phase errors. In case of analytical phase, the common how we perform this analytical phase internal quality control, this we perform by using the control materials. Now the internal quality control is more often that is undertaken either by qualitative testing or quantitative testing. In case of qualitative testing, the common examples are which are seen in microbiological testing, like this ICT devices, point of care devices, which are having inbuilt quality control. So they are qualitatively interpreted by positive or negative control, the serological control, which identifies qualitatively and interprets. But in case of quantitative testing procedures, we commonly use the control materials or calibrators. With the help of using control materials or calibrators, every day we plot this and we see that whether the control materials are within range or out of range. For the interpretation, we commonly used statistical control, that is QC control charts. LJ chart is very commonly used in this. Other charts are also there, but the more commonly used one is LJ chart, Levy-Jennings chart. So here I have shown one image of the LJ chart, where by running the control material, every day we have noted the result and we have identified that what is the variation seen with reference to the average. Now here, a simple common example, if I say, like, if we are having the glucose standard, right, which is around 100 mg per dl, right? So every day when we are taking the reading, if it is out of, right, we can measure with the help of 100 mg per dl. But if suppose we don't know this exact value as well, we can measure it with the average value of the everyday reading. Now, how we can interpret this LJ chart? This is, we have plotted the LJ chart. The interpretation, we are following the Westgard rules, where in case of Westgard rules, the statistical rules are there, which shows the violation, and multiple Westgard rules are there. Here I have taken few of the examples. Westgard rule, these are the statistical rules for internal quality control from the internal quality control data. So here we can see that it identifies either systemic or random error. What we see in case of systemic, the systemic error that shows whether there is any specific shift or trend. Here, one example is shown that multiple values are there, which is on upper side, right? So it is showing a shift towards the upper area, right? So this is a shift, and this shift is not acceptable, right? Though all these violations are not acceptable, but when we are observing such kind of shift, we need to calibrate our instrument and validate our procedure. Similarly, one example is shown here. Here, what we can see that there is the QC values are in one trend. How they are in one trend? They are just rising upward, right? So they are moving to one side. Instead of one side, it is in increasing order, right? So this is the trend where we see that it is seen within one trend, rising trend. So again, this such kind of violation is not acceptable. Whenever we see such violations, the immediate corrective action needs to be taken by identifying the root cause analysis, because this will definitely creates problem when we report such with errors. So here we have seen that how the analytical process, right, phase control we are doing by using the control material and calibrators, and how the LJ chart is useful in interpreting. And the Westgard rules are very important for identifying these violations. Now, the statistical measures which we see from here, the plotting which we have done, that is commonly taking place with the help of central of tendency, that is mean, mode, right? So we are commonly using the average value here, and the standard deviation is that how extent it is the dispersion of the values are seen. Similarly, the coefficient of variation that identifies the precision, whether the method which we are using is precise or not. So here the method should be precise as well as it should show the accurate results without biasness. Now, in case of internal quality control in clinical microbiology, the examples one I commonly say that is of qualitative analysis, that we commonly use the internal quality control with positive or negative quality control, more commonly used in serological testing. Apart from that, reference strains for knowing the performance activity of any culture media, that is helpful to identify whether our culture media is properly giving result, and it will, during testing procedures, we can rely on our result. The other is, in case of clinical microbiology, simple preparation of culture media. So the culture media which we are preparing every day, apart from performance activity, will look for sterility, whether the sterilization has taken place in a proper way, whether the complete sterilization has been achieved or not. Then apart from this, we also see for the pH, because it plays very important role for indicating the changes, right? Whatever the growth is, the growth we will see commonly by the change in pH, the coloration will change of the bacteria, and that we can see easily. But if the pH is varying, the culture media will not give the proper result. It is true with the reagents as well, reagent and kit, where we are, whatever stains we are using, that must be checked frequently whether it is giving the result properly or not. And the reagents must be validated from lot to lot. So lot to lot verification is needed, expiration check and proper storage that needs to be done, and this quality control records should be maintained. Similarly, when we are performing the AST testing, a very routine procedure in microbiology, culture and sensitivity, we are using multiple discs, but we don't know whether the disc is giving the result or whether it is having the potential or not. So disc potency testing needs to be done monthly. Similarly, the instrument validation needs to be done. If we are using any automated instrument, the performance check in between, that needs to be done. So here I have shown few figures. This is one of the example for internal quality control in case of ICT devices, where we can see that control is marked. So control is not for the purpose just to read, but it is to validate the device, whether the device is valid for reporting or not. If there is no band seen in control region, so you should repeat the test. Similarly, this is the other method where two controls are there, PC and NC. So the PC and NC is not to look whether how it will give the result. It is to validate again the testing procedure. Now, again, this is true that how many times we will perform this activity, right? Will we perform it every testing procedure? So no, you have to perform this activity every day morning so that you are validating your testing procedure. Again, the first testing sample whenever comes to the laboratory, that must be run with the quality controls, with the controls. Here one of the example is shown for the QC of the sterilization procedure to check whether the sterilization procedure is achieved or not. We can monitor whether the temperature reached. So by using this indicator strips, it will help to note down whether the temperature is achieved or not. And the second, we can even use the chemical indicator and biological indicator. Very commonly, we are using this biological indicator, which is having the spores, right? The spores of Bacillus stereothermophilus are more commonly used for autoclave procedures. So as the spores, they are killed in the sterilization process, it must be killed and it should not be grown when we are incubating it. Now, what are the key challenges in quality control? So as I already said, the key challenges in quality control is, first is the pre-analytical phase. That should be properly done, right? If there is error in the pre-analytical phase, definitely it will affect the analytical phase. The second is human factor. So person to person performance may vary, and it is strictly we should follow the SOPs while performing any activity. Method variability. Similarly, if I am performing any testing procedure by different method, right? So method variability can occur. So that should be checked. If any reagent lot changes, so it must be validated. With the new technologies, right? As I already said, that internal quality control material, right, that is available. So that is more approachable. If we are following any molecular assay, again, it needs to be validated before performing the testing procedure. Data management, cost and resources, these are the quality control challenges. As I said that every day we have to perform the internal quality control, right? But not with every testing procedure in framework of the cost and resources. So depending on how many samples comes in the laboratory in a day, if there are more, we can go for 2 times a day, right? Quality control can be done. But if less number of samples are there, frequency is less. So the first testing sample, right, that should be followed with the quality control. Already we discussed that what are the consequences of inadequate quality control and what kind of effects can be seen. So where we have already seen that it will not only increase the cost and personal effort and time, but it worsen the patient's outcome. So as we know the negative consequences more, what should be the best practice and how we can correct it up, how we can minimize, not exactly correct, but how we can minimize it. So staff training and competency assessment, that needs to be frequently taken place. Everyone should follow the SOPs. SOPs must be updated. Quality indicators and benchmarks should be followed. So this should be there in the regular practice. And whatever root cause has been analyzed, the corrective action needs to be taken. The corrective and preventive action needs to be taken. Regular audit schedule should be there, and the documentation every day, whatever quality control you are performing, so that needs to be documented. So this risk management strategies must be followed. So hereby with this, what I conclude is that, as already I said, that patient outcome worsens, right? So elevating patient care through robust QC, which is a continuous process, is our primary goal, right? The performance of QC, right, that is the foundation of clinical laboratory and credibility and patient safety. So QC plays very important role in the analytical process, and along with learning this laboratory skills, you must learn this quality control procedures as well. It's a part of quality management system where you will see that what are the different quality laboratory process and what are this quality control that we have briefed out here. Thank you. I hope if any questions are there, please you can raise your questions.
Well,
Hello.
I don't think there are any questions as such as of now. It was a very elaborate presentation. Thank you. Once again, like it's customary, I would ask like if there are any questions from the audience. Means Dr. Aarti was good enough to make all of us understand what she spoke about. So a good round of applause for her. Congratulations and thank you so much. Thanks to the audience. We have a good number which persisted all through from 6 o'clock to around like 7 or 7 right now. So on this note,
Dr. Aarti, thank you so
Yes.
much for a wonderful talk.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving such opportunity. Actually it was quite bigger, which I brief out in 1 or 2 hours, but yes, within a shortened span, I have minimized this. So I hope I have conveyed the core concept and its
No,
importance.
I was feeling just I am sitting in a classroom and you are my teacher.
From
Thank,
academics, sir. That's why. Thank
thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Anyway,
It was a
Okay.
wonderful talk.
yeah, we had a good session. Like both the sessions were quite informative and educative. So on that note, thanks once again to all those who were present to make it successful, and to the speakers, both the speakers, Dr. Aarti and Mr. Sanjeev Chabra. Okay then, bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.